Peace and blessings. This is the True Lioness, Shaki Ali, coming at you with a video. It's been a while since I've done a video, and I initially thought of, because I blog as well, I thought about writing out my story and what I wanted to discuss. However, after some consideration, I've decided to make this a video. So, as many of you may know, that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I wanted to share my personal struggle and story with sexual assault. I was 19 years old and I was partying. I was a nurse, a new nurse. I became an LPN when I was 19 years old. Nevertheless, this happened when I was 20. I had just turned 20. Anyway, 20 years old, I was a young mom. I had my first child. He was a few years old at this time. And I would, go out and party. I worked from 3 to 11, second shift during those days, exclusively. And one night, I was pretty popular anyway. I was that girl, kind of whatever. And one night I went out and I saw a guy that I had known all my life. And we were kicking it, I was 20, but I was drinking. He was drinking. Everybody was drinking. Anyway, he kind of said, he was flirting, saying a few little things, talking slick or whatever. And he said, could he come over to my house? And jokingly, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? So, a little backstory. So when I was 19, I was married. I got married the first time when I was 19 years old. My first husband was very abusive. I've talked about that abuse before. And so at this period of time, I had gotten out of that relationship. I was free and I was enjoying myself, doing what I wanted to do at that particular time, but not really dealing with my issues. So I was drinking drinking was almost like therapy. I was repressing a lot of feelings that I had and hurt and pain by being vicious to men. So, I didn't want to be serious with anybody. I didn't want anybody to be serious with me. I was just pretty much partying, doing what I want to do, not entering into anything serious, no serious relationships. I had no desire to do so. Didn't want nobody to be thinking I was a boo, they bae, they whatever, they love, they nothing. I just was not feeling it. So anyway, 20 years old, I'm out doing my thing, partying. Everybody knew me, the club owner. I was kind of like, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Strictly Business, but in the movie Strictly Business, Halle Berry was like kind of like a promoter, but on the low. So she would be in the club dancing with people, and the guys would be buying drinks and whatever. She wanted her own, but that's what she was doing in part of the movie. That's partly kind of like what I was doing at that time. I was working full-time as an LPN, but I also was kind of per se helping that club, bringing people in and doing what I do. I'm very joyful. And at that time, I was, I'm a party animal, whatever. So anyway, saw this guy I knew. All my life. Didn't see him as a threat. Didn't see him as anything but who he was to me. We were never per se friends. We were more or less kind of like classmates, same age range, and we knew each other. So he had been a boyfriend of a friend of mine, and so I had known him all my life. He was friends with my cousins, and my cousins were like my brothers, and so that's what it was. Nevertheless, he asked could he come over. I jokingly said yes. Didn't think he knew where I lived. I didn't, I was, once the night was over, I was drunk. And sometimes I would get people to take me home, as far as drive me home. Other times I would take a chance and drive myself. Yes, I was irresponsible. I was 20 years old. What 20-year-old is very, very responsible. Anyway, that night I was drunk. I got home. Went and got on my bed. My son was not there. Probably 45 minutes after I got in, and I was cloudy. I was foggy because I was drunk. I remember seeing someone standing in my bedroom doorway, and I was like, I thought I was bugging. I thought nobody was in there because I was alone. But then when I felt somebody sit on the bed, you feel this overwhelming feeling of fear of what's going to happen. I kind of caught myself and I asked, what are you doing? Something to that, what are you doing? What do you want? Something to that effect. He didn't say anything. He started pulling I had a skirt on, and he started pulling at my skirt. I hadn't gotten undressed because I was drunk. So I was just pretty much laying in my clothes that I had on at the club. I felt him pull the skirt, and I'm like, please don't do that. But I'm drunk. So what kind of fighting am I going to really do? I had a gun at this time, but the gun was kept in a drawer my bedroom was pretty big, and the gun was in a drawer away from my bed. It wasn't close to the bed at all. When he pulled the skirt, I tried to tug away. He pulled and pulled. After a while, he flipped me over on my back, and he did what he did. And I was going in and out of consciousness during this period of time, and he seemed to thoroughly enjoy himself. And he left. He left my door wide open. When I got up the next day, I still had on the top that I had worn to the club. The skirt was thrown to the other side of the room. My panties were balled up, thrown somewhere else. Condom pack on the floor. The wrapper was on the floor. And I just sat on the edge of the bed. And I felt violated. But I think I felt more disappointed in myself than I did anything else at that particular time, because I put myself in a predicament of sorts to be compromised. No, this is not an excuse for him. What he did was fucked up. Ain't no other way to say it. It was wrong what he did. Absolutely. But had I not been drinking so heavily, I would have made sure my door was locked. There was a couple things I would have been more aware of. Is somebody following me? Because the house in which I lived in wasn't a house that you could easily find, especially if you're not from that area. And he was not from the town that I was living in at that time. He was from a neighboring place. But if you're not from there, it's people that live here now that if you say, do you know where this particular road is, they probably could not tell you. So he followed me from that club back to my home. And me being drunk, I didn't lock that door. I know I didn't. Because no way he could have come in. He had no key to my house. We weren't in a relationship or anything in that. And I definitely didn't get up and let him in. And some people may say, well, you were drunk. How you know what you... Listen. If a woman tells you no, it means no. I did not invite him to come and violate my body. And what was very sickening after it was over, well, first of all, once it was said and done, and I was like, you know what, that shit didn't happen. I'm not dealing with that. You know what? I'm just not going to deal with it. But then I said, maybe I should talk to somebody. So I went to a friend and I told her, I said, something happened last night to me. She's like, what? You know, we had a ball last night. And I said, yeah, at the club we did. I said, this happened after it was over, after, we went home. And I started to tell her that I had been raped. And I, started tearing up because saying the words, I've been violated, I've been raped, is heavy. It's heavy and it's hard. And she looked at me and she was like, don't do that, this and this and this. She kind of like disregarded my feelings. So that hurt. Then about 6 months later, I was at some of my family's house, my cousin, my auntie. I was at their house, and I didn't see him. When I pulled up, my whole intent was to go there and see my little cousin, and she and I were going to go somewhere, whatever, just to kick it. And there was a group of guys outside the house. I kind of avoid looking, when it's a lot of men. I try not to make eye contact or try to interact, just because, some men are just brutes. And I didn't want to draw any attention. But anyway, when I got out the car, I heard someone call my name. And I looked, and it was him. And he said, "Yo, what's up?" I didn't say anything. And he said, "I enjoyed you the last time I saw you." Him saying that as though I was some type of toy and not a human was tough. And for years, I just didn't deal with it. That's been 17 years ago. Didn't deal with it. I kind of took that memory and pushed it into the recesses of my mind and decided, you know what? It happened, that's it, whatever. But in retrospect, I understand and I know that not dealing with that issue has affected me in a multitude of ways. The trust factor is a big one. Sometimes I get into the mood of being a hermit into myself, not really want to deal with the world. That too, couple things. But I found victory in really just dealing with the issues and not. So anyway, dealing with the issue, not dealing with the issues of being raped has not served me well. Some of my hostility at times. I'm a very sweet person, sweet individual, very laid back. However, I noticed that I became very aggressive after that, and I know it's because of my power was taken as a result of what was done to me. My body was violated. I was mishandled by someone that I knew, which happens to so many women. We are violated by people that we know and trust to not do us in that way. I have found my peace with it, and I haven't seen him for many, many years. That last instance that I saw him when he said, "Yo, what's up, blah, blah, blah," that's the last time I've ever seen him. I don't see him on social media. I don't see him in the hometown that I'm, originally from. I don't see him, and that's good in itself. The universe works in a way to free us from some things, and I've had to really put my own self on an altar and really deal with what was done. And that's not easy. It's not easy to look in the mirror, look at your body, because for a long time. And I think, you know what, another thing I just thought about is I have men tell me how sexy I am. "Oh, you're so sexy." And it's like when a man tells me that, I'll automatically shut down. I don't want to talk to them no more, because I feel like they objectify my body. And that's what he did. I was not an individual. I was a thing to do. I was a body to be had. And so that's like a big pet peeve of mine, if a man continually highlights my sexuality. But I realize, there's power in my femininity. There's power in my sexuality. That's natural, and I should not feel that way. But again, these are the issues that I'm dealing with because of what was done. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Luckily, not luckily, because what was done to me is terrible, but there are some women that are beaten when they're assaulted. Some of them are, some terrible, terrible things. Sexual acts are done to them and forced upon them. That is awful. And, women are not the only people that are assaulted. Children, men as well. So, I feel for individuals that have had to go through those things. Also being molested. I have friends and family that was molested. I was molested as well when I was 11 years old. And that's another story into itself, and I won't even go there today because that's just too heavy. But I do want to say and encourage anyone who has survived a sexual assault, who's been battered and abused in that manner. I want to encourage you that I feel for you, I empathize with you, I understand, and that you are loved, and your body is holy. Your body is still sacred, and it does not deserve to have been treated in the manner that it was. You are here for a reason and a purpose, and that reason and purpose did not disappear the moment that you were raped. I know that sometimes we feel like our value is lessened after things such as this occur, but that is so not true. And love is to still be had, even though that was done. You are lovable. You are still lovable. I've come to a point where I feel sexy now. I love my body. I work out daily. I do yoga daily. I meditate daily. I have certain practices to keep me balanced and keep me at ease. And now, I still don't like when men say, "What's up, sexy?" I don't care for that too much because I feel like they're still objectifying me. However, I don't get overzealous with it, and totally, my response is not so exaggerated as it had been in the past. I don't hide my body. I was made and created this way for a purpose and a reason. And so were you. So were you. So again, this has been Ashaki Ali. I hope me sharing a part of my life with you has helped in some type of way. You can look at my face and tell that I have joy and I'm not a miserable person at all. And even through all of the ugliness that I've experienced, I still love with my whole heart, and I still allow myself to feel comfortable with myself. I wasn't always that way. So if you're dealing or struggling with that, I encourage you to find someone to talk to. I didn't have that luxury initially, but find someone to talk to, a counselor, a therapist, a trusted friend, an advisor, an elder, someone. Share with them your feelings. If you don't have that luxury, journal. It will help you. It will help you. It will help you. And practice self-love practices, because self-love is the most important love, and you deserve it. You deserve it. So until next time, I hope you all are well and peaceful and joyful. And I wish you all much abundance and prosperity and peace in your life. Peace, love, and light.